Hello all, welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group. So I'm back with another project video. So I know like previous some days I have been publishing only tutorial videos. So there was so many requests from the subscriber like we need project videos. So I'm back with one more, that is bus booking. So those who are from India, they might know what is Redbus, what the platform is about. So it's a simple bus booking application where we can book the tickets from one location to another. We can do the seat selection and everything. So whatever the basic thing we have in the Redbus, we are just trying to replicate the same. I have created the APIs also. So majorly what things we have. So whenever we talk about a application which is having a website, right? So obviously it will have an admin module also. So in this particular video, I'm not going to cover the admin module, but I will explain. So when we say about admin module, so let's say we have a bus booking application. So obviously what are the locations, bus, vendors, those will come from the database, right? So whoever the owner of this platform, they will create, correct? Vendor has to register, he will create a schedule of the bus traveling and all those things. So those will be covering in the admin module, like vendor CRUD operation, location and addresses, schedule, and the booking. He can see the booking. But from API, I have inserted the data by using Swagger only. What we are going to see is the website module, what you are seeing over here. So let's say we have from destination and to destination, the date of travel. So let's say I select Nagpur to Pune and I click on search bus. I will get certain number of bus who are traveling from Nagpur to Pune with that particular date, and bus will be available like this. And I click on view seat. Let's say I have to book that particular travels. So I will be able to do the seat selection also. So it's a sleeper bus. So we have upper deck and lower deck, and we can select it like this. Once we select the bus, we can select the boarding point and the dropping point also, and proceed to book. So obviously it's a actual platform, so it will have the payment integration and everything. But even in our application, we will do the same part like this. But on click of proceed, we will just book the ticket. Again, login and registration part will be there. So this is everything we are going to discuss. So again, just to summarize, we will have a search base and a basic UI also I have created. This is already pushed into my YouTube project template. So this will be a search page from location to location, date, and so on click of search bus, we will call our API, and whatever the bus we get, that we will display it over here. Just one bus I have created like that, multiple buses will be there. Once we click on the view sites, like this, we will have a UI at the bottom. Here we will have the various different number of seats booking and everything. So from here, you will be able to do the seat selection. And after that, we will have a small booking form, and then we can proceed. So this is a normal bus booking application website we are going to try. Now the APIs, where are the APIs? So APIs are free. You can use it. It is hosted on project.api.zerasim.in subdomain. Under bus booking, you will be able to see all the APIs which we are going to need. Admin API and website, all APIs are there. If you are just focusing on the website part, you will have very less API to integrate. But in case of admin, you need to do the complete CRUD operation of everything, correct? Now, the project I have created, it is with Angular 18. Let me just show you that. So this is the project which is with Angular 18. So currently I think we have 18.2 or 1 something, but again, same things are there, just some normal patches and one new template variable we can create, that new thing they have introduced. But almost everything is the same from 17 to 18 with standalone. We don't have app module, we have app config. Everything stays the same. Nothing major new changes. After creating of this project, I have installed Bootstrap and Font Awesome. So once we install the Bootstrap and the Font Awesome, you have to register those CSS into our Angular.json auto into style section. So these are the basic thing I have done. Now, if you are going to use my API, you need to run your project on particular port. So you can run like ngs -hyphen port 4209. On this particular port only you need to run my application. Then only API will be accessible. Otherwise, CORS error will be there. Enter. So while it runs, let's discuss about the components. So we have the basic structure. Now in app folder, what I will do, I will create a folder pages. And in pages folder, I will be creating my component. So seeing at the UI, we can have at least two components. First is for the searching. And once we click on the view seat, we will navigate to the different page. There we will have the seat selection and the booking form. So just two components we will create. Again, we can uh, divide this also. Like for search box, we can create one component. Once we search, we will navigate to the filter page. But just to complete the basic, this is just the first video. In next video, I will be going into very detail, the same API, but in a detail mode, I will be explaining. Okay, so in this video, we will just try to cover the basic bus booking flow with the ticket selection. What do we say? Seat selection. Fine. So we will create just two components, search page and a booking page. So let's create that pages. Now we have to create component into this pages folder. So open integrated terminal, ng generate component, search. This is the first component which we are going to need. After that, we will need booking component. Once the component are created, next thing what we do is we create the routes. So we have app route.ts. So here we need to create the route. Fine. Let's create the route now. Route will be an array of object. Right. Let's give it a time. Path. Still it is not suggesting. Let me close and open it again. Yeah, now it is suggesting. So path we need empty. First, I'm creating a default route. By default, I should be able to navigate to something else. Search. And what do we need? Path mesh strategy. Full. Fine. Then this is a default route. Then we have to create our route. So path first route will be, if we don't have anything, we are going to navigate to search. So search page. On this route, which component we need to open? So search component. Then we need the booking. So path booking component, booking component. Now from Angular 18, we have here redirect to. Previously we used to just pass the route, but now in redirective you can pass the function as well. See, either you can pass the string or the function as well. This is the new thing which we got from Angular 18. So if someone asks you like what new things we have, so this is another thing which you should be aware of. In redirective, you can write a function as well. Fine. So this is the route. Now routes has been created. So already I told you like UI have been already created, basic UI. So that UI I will copy paste. So this is the header and in this section I have the search form. And over here we have the buses. So let's copy these three things and let's put dates in a search component. So over here, we just need a closing div for the container. So now let's save all. Yeah, it is already saved all. Now let's open localhost 4209. So by default, we are running to the different port. So now you can see we are getting this default page also. This comes from our app.html and our bus booking UI is also coming. Just CSS we need. So let me just copy this CSS. Search page, and I will put it into style.css. So many of you are complaining that I'm not creating UI while doing the video. So creating the video will creating the HTML in the video itself, it takes so much time. The functionality which I want to explain, that will be in the end then. So that's why I'm normally create the HTML before starting the video, and you guys also can have the access to the HTML. You can use this or you can use your own. Now we just need to remove the static content. So let's go to our app component. Let's remove everything. We will just need the router outlet over there. That's it. So now you can see we have the bus booking UI already available. Everything looks the same. Yeah. Okay. So first task is done. We have implemented the UI. Next thing, here you can see Nagpur and Pune is visible. So here we need the drop down. Now what drop down? What are the locations we have? On which locations we are on our platform we have the buses running, right? So for that, you need to use this API, get bus location, try it out, execute. So now here you can see I have just from the API Swagger only, I have inserted only 4 cities. Like my buses are running on the 4 different cities. So these are the buses. Fine. So this API integration we need to do, and whatever the data we get of the cities that we need to display over here, here and here. So now we have to make the API call. So for that, we need to create a service. So in app folder, I will create a folder that will be service. And in service, I will create a normal service. Again, I have not created any proper project folder setup, but you, if you are preparing and if you are in the learning phase, do create a proper what do we say, project structure and everything. Then only start the work. Ng generate as, let's say, master service. And in that only we will create all the API call functions. So master service we have created. Now over here, what API we need to integrate? So this API, correct? So this will be the common part. So this, now before we are making the API call. So from Angular 17, we don't have app module. So before app module, we used to add HTTP client module into the app module import section. But from Angular 10, that HTTP client module is deprecated. So you cannot use it. So if you have to make the API call in app config, in provider section, you need to add provide HTTP client. Provide HTTP client. So up to Angular 17, we had the access of HTTP client module in the component or in the service. We used to import that, but now we don't have it. That is deprecated. So provide HTTP client. That is the only way how we can make the API call in app config in provider section. That is done. So let's close it. Now over here, we can create an interface, object of our HTTP service colon HTTP client. So this is the old way, what we call as a dependency injection. New thing is also there from Angular 15, that is using inject. We will do that in the component. Now here, let's create a global variable API URL. Data type string is equal to this. So I said like in all the API, this is the common part. So this common part, I will put it over here. Again, just to repeat, do implement the proper folder structure. We have constant file and everything environment. You can do everything. I have already created so many of videos how you set up your project folder architecture. So just do like that. But if you already know that, and if you just want to implement the idea, you can follow my way. Fine. So we have created a variable where we are storing the common API URL. Then we have to create our first API call function, that is get locations. Now from this function, we are going to make the API call. Whatever the API call data we get, that we are going to return also. So first return this dot HTTP dot get API call. And we need to pass the URL. So URL will be, this is a constant, right? This dot this, then plus. Now what we need, we are just concatenating. So up till bus booking, we have it over here. Now what is the remaining? The actual method name, that is get bus location. And our method is get. So that's why http.get. So this will go over here. Fine. So this function we have done. But now this API is returning an object of this, correct? Now you can create interface. I have already explained, like you can use you can create class or interface. You can use direct. We have a website, convert JSON to TypeScript. You can just put your JSON. It will give you the object also. Let me just show you quickly. So this is my object. Why it takes so much time? So like this, got it? So either I won't be doing this because it's a small project. So just the functionality I'm concerning. Okay. Now, so in our service, we have written first function, that is get all location, get locations. Now this API call I have to make into my search component. So in search component, we have to integrate our this service. So one way to do is by using dependency injection, but another, the new way that we got from Angular 16 or 15, that is by using inject service. So master service is equal to inject we have to use, and we need to pass the which service we are going to inject. Provider token, nothing but, right? So we are going to use master service. So master service import has been automatically added. So this is same as what we used to do like this. So this is what we call at a dependency injection, and this is the new thing what we have. So always try to adapt to the new thing, because if you are preparing or sometimes after some time, ultimately you are going to work in from Angular 17 or 18. So you should be familiar with these new things, right? Now on the page load, we need to do this. So if we have to write some code on the page load, obviously we need to implement lifecycle event. So on in it, let's implement it also on in it. Once we implement it, will ask us to write the function ng on in it. And we will create one function, get all locations. Fine. Now, if you see my API response, if I hit this API directly, I'm getting the array of object. So now, instead of storing the data into a variable and then binding that variable into HTML, we can directly create an observable. That is a new way. And if so that we can use the async of pipe also. So in this function, what we can do, first we will create an observable. So let's say location dollar colon observable. We need to add the import. Just add the import from RxJS. What do we need? Observable. Fine. Those who are not familiar with async pipe, they can normally create a variable and store the data by subscribing. But just to be, as I'm not taking interface class, so something new things I'm covering. Fine. So we have to create observable colon any. Since I'm not creating class or interface, that's why I'm going for any, but you don't have to go it. Just create class or interface. I'm initializing with undefined, otherwise it will be throwing error. Fine. Now, or let's try to initialize. This is not a good way. We are going to get an array. So let's initialize like this. Yeah, fine. So we have initialized our observable, just created an observable. Now in this dot location dollar is equal to what we are going to assign. So this dot master service dot only one function is there, that is get location. Why it is giving error? Observable object. Okay, so we didn't specify return type over here. So let's specify return type also. Any square bracket. Then here also we specify the return type like this. Observable any is missing in the following properties any. Why it is giving error? Sorry, observable. We have to write like this. Now what I have did is we have just specified the return data type for this function. Yeah, this function was returning an observable type of data, but what we are saying like observable of array, something data we are going to get the array of data and that we are returning. Now here you can see that error is gone because earlier we didn't specify the data type, return data type for this function. So that's why it was giving error. Fine. Now this function we need to call on ng on ints. It's like then it will start listening to the data we get. So once the page load, we will call this function. Now in this observable, we will have spelling mistake is there, I think. Location observable. So in this observable, we are going to get the data we get from this API call. So this I can use it now into my HTML directly on the search box. So this was a text box. Instead of it, let's create a select option. This will be static select from location. After that, we need a dynamic one. So before Angular 17, we used to, if we have to iterate the element, we used to use ng for, but as we have control flow statement, so you use that. So that is at the rate for loop. Now over here, instead of array, now we don't have array. So we have observable colon async. Now if we have to use the async pipe, we need to import it. Async pipe. Now it will suggest location dollar. So dollar won't copy. Let's copy manually. Fine. So it's like we are directly subscribing the data, whatever we get from that function. We are not storing something into that variable and again doing that. Fine. Now over here, we need to iterate option. In value attribute, what we need to bind, sorry, it will be in the property binding, square bracket, square bracket. Now, if you see the API response, we have location ID. So primary key, right? So primary key, we bind it to the location. So over here, item dot location ID. So now you can see if I press dot, nothing is suggesting. But if you create class and interface, it will properly suggest. Fine. But I'm not using it just to keep the video to the minimum length. Item dot. Here we need to show location name. Correct? Location code is also there. You can show that also. Just like from, we need to also. Let's replace that. We need class, sorry, form hyphen select, or drop down we have in the Bootstrap, we have form select. I'm using Bootstrap. If you are familiar with Material, PrimeNG, whatever the UI framework, Tailwind, you can use that. Just the functionality or the logic, how we write, that is important. Technology can be anything. Fine. But it's not triggering. Let's see why not. Let's reload. Course error. Why we are getting course error? Let's try to hit. Yeah, on click of it, we are getting from 4209. It's not allowing me to access. Let me just check my API. I think I missed to add the course policy. Let me just add it and redeploy my API. I will just pause for some time. So I have redeployed my API by adding the course policy. So now you can see we have got success rate. So here you can see we have got the data. Got it? So this is how we have done the API call. So whatever the data we are getting from the API, that we have binded to the HTML directly by subscribing to that. Fine. Now, next thing, on click of search, we need to integrate another API that will be search bus. So if you see the search bus API, it's a your parameter base. So we need to pass 3 parameters. Let's try. So one is the location for Nagpur, 2 is the location for Pune, and let's add tomorrow's date, because I have added some travels for tomorrow's date for this location only. If you want to implement another because most in what was that train booking also, so many guys face the issue, like whatever the data I added, it was for that particular date. You can also create a schedule like that. So post bus schedule, you can use this API and create your own from and to destination buses. Then it will come in the search bar. But for just video purpose, I have added for the location of 1 and 2. Fine. So that too with tomorrow days. So 2018, sorry, 2024 hyphen 08 hyphen 18, tomorrow's date. If I click on execute, so now you can see for tomorrow's, we have 3 dates. If I change 18 to 19, I don't have any dates. I don't have any schedule. So you can see empty, it is coming. So this is the URL what we need to perform. So let's copy. Now, second API call we need to make. So again, we have to go to the service get or search bus. This function is going to have 3 parameters. From that to data type with number, from location ID we need to send to that to data type with number, and then travel date. It will have, let's say, add a string because we are going to pass the date. So return this dot http dot get this. Now, if you see at the above function, we have used the normal concatenation. Now here we will use the template literal. That is the new from when we try for the interview, we know that template literal is a topic which we prepare from the JavaScript. So that if you ES6 feature, those things you can use in Angular as well. So if you do use it regularly, you don't have to actually prepare when you are preparing for the interview, correct? So let's use that. So first is dollar curly bracket, this dot API URL. Then we need to pass our URL. So this is our URL. Now here, instead of 1, we need to type curly bracket. So here we need to pass the first parameter, that is from location ID we will get. then to location instead of this $2 curly bracket, and then 2. And then we need to pass the date. So instead of this static, again dollar curly bracket, and we need to pass the travel date. So we have created a function. Again, data typing we need to do. So let's copy. Again, we are going to get an array of objects. So let's add it like this. Fine. So our API call function is ready. Now this function we need to integrate on a button click from this search button. So we have this search button. But before that, we have a form. Nothing but we have 3 elements from location, to location, and date. So what we can do, we can create an object. Here I will explain the use of object destructuring also. So make sure you properly understand. So let's create search obj colon any curly bracket. What are the parameters we have? Let's just copy that from location empty. Then we have parameter which is to location empty. Then we have travel date. Fine. So this object we have created. Now this object we are going to bind to the HTML also. So we need to make use of the forms module, template form. Let's add the import first. Angular / forms. If you are familiar with, what do we say? Sorry, let me just import forms module. If you are familiar with reactive form module, you can do that also. But since we have a small form only, I'm just going with the template. But ideally, you should go for the reactive because that is React form module. Template form module is very easy. When it comes to reactive, there are so many scenarios. So always, whenever you are practicing, try to use reactive form only. Fine. So we have imported forms module. Now this object we can bind to our form. So on the select element, square bracket, round bracket, ng model equal to double quotes dot. What we need to bind from location over here. So let's copy. Sorry, this should be from location. Then here to location on the second drop down. And in the third, we need to bind travel date. And instead of input type, it should be date so that we will get the date properly. And here travel date. Sorry. Let me just maximize this. So we have created object. We have bind that object to our elements also. Let's just save and check if we are getting error. We should get an error. Let me just showcase you that what is the error what we get. If we inspect in the console, you can see we are getting error. That is if ng model is within a form tag. So we must have a form inside an HTML, the tag that is form tag. Yeah. So whenever you are using ng model inside a form tag, you need that name attribute mandatory. So name is equal to same property you need to bind. This is extra thing we are doing. Here also to location, whatever the ng model property we are using, that only you need to bind. And travel date over here. Fine. Now in service, we have created a function which has 3 parameters, correct? So what we can do on search button, let's write a function first. Instead of submits, like make it button, round bracket, click on search. Let's create this function. Fine. Now here, simply this dot master service dot. Now in master service, we have 2 functions. We have to use search bus and we will subscribe. Now here I'm specifying the normal way. How do we do the API call? Result colon any. This is the normal way how we do it. Now this function needs 3 parameters, but what we have is a object. So now here we can use object destructuring. So many of the guys might not be familiar, like in Angular also, we can use object destructuring. Might be possible that you might not have worked on the project like that, but you can use it. You can create scenarios like this, and so that you will actually have a hands-on experience in object destructuring as well. So what you can do, you can create a constant array. What properties we need? From location, comma, to location. We are now trying to access, we are trying to create 3 variable from this object, and is equal to what we will assign? Search object. This dot. Fine, because we needed to pass 3 different parameters to this function. So we could have passed 3 dot search, this dot search object dot from location, comma, to location. But I wanted to explain, like, this is also possible. Now you can pass this individually, comma, travel location, like this. Fine. Now, whatever the data we are going to get from this function means basically API call, that we need to store it also somewhere. So let's create bus list colon any of array. We are going to get array of object, and in this variable we will hold the data. So this dot bus list is equal to res. Fine. So let's save and check if we are able to get the proper data network. Now if we select Nagpur and if we select Solapur, we don't have any data, but let's try it out. Tomorrow's date. On click of search, I think we didn't save HTML file or what? Why API call is not getting triggered, or we are facing any error? No. Let's try what is happening. So now debugging. So in the sources, you can press Control P, and then what component we need to search? Search component. Let's add a debugger over here. No, that function is not getting called. But why? Let's copy. Search buses. Correct only na input type button. Why function is not getting triggered? Let's try one more time. Okay, now it was got called. Let's try now. Nagpur, Solapur. Let's add tomorrow's date. On click of search. Now over here you can see we got the data. And same object is not iteratable. I think I also did the mistake. Let me check. Sorry. Here we did a mistake. We are trying to extract objects. So instead of array, it should be object. So that is why you need to try to use the concept, because these are the concept which we normally don't use in Angular. So whenever you are preparing for the interview, you need to specifically prepare for them, correct? So let's save and try now. So it was breaking on that line. Now Nagpur, Solapur, or let's Solapur. Let's get tomorrow date search. So now here you can see in from location, we are getting the proper data. Let's add a debugger in 38 line. Once we make the API call, in the result, we got the empty array. Means we don't have the bus traveling from this location to this location on that particular date. Now let's select Pune and the same date. I have the data for this date. On click of search. Now in the result, you can see we have got 3 elements. Got it? So now this data we are storing into this array. Now we just need to iterate it and show it into the UI over here. So let's do that. So now this was the static UI where we have to show the buses, right? This just we need to make it dynamic. So let's go to HTML. So over here, this was a card which was static. Now this we need to iterate. So now inside row, or we can totally complete the row also using @for loop. We can iterate. Now, at the earlier I have showcased you like how we use the for loop, just like that. Now, but here we are directly going to access a variable. So that variable we can directly access bus list. Okay. Now this is the UI which we want to iterate. So this we will copy, cut, and paste. Now let's save and check. So once we select Nagpur and the Pune, let's select the date 18. So now you can see 3 times it got created, but this UI is static. Again, we need to change it. So let's say here we can show the bus name. Let's see what data we are getting from the API. Search. So we are getting the bus name or not? Yeah, we are getting the bus name. So this bus name we will display over here. So item dot bus name. AC or sleeper, we don't have it coming from the API, just bus name we will display. Then we have departure time. So item dot, let's check the API. Departure time is there, but it contains date and time and everything. So for we just need to show the time. Item dot this, then we can use date pipe. Again, if we have to use the date pipe, we need to import it also. Let's go to .ts date. So for pipe also, you cannot use it directly. You need to import. So date, and here we need to pass the time. So I think HH-MM-SS. Let's see if it works. Nagpur, Pune, tomorrow's date, search. Yeah, so here you can see date is visible. And again, AM, PM also we can show, but let it be, because I have added 24-hour time system only. So from Pune to Nagpur, we have two buses which are from 5 to 9, and one is again from 5. Now we, instead of over here now, we can show the vendor name. Let's show the vendor name. So from API, we are getting the vendor name. Let's use this and show the vendor name instead of this. Item dot vendor name. Then arrival time also we can show just like this. Let's copy arrival time. That will be this. Always try to copy paste whenever you are binding something. Na, do copy paste. And this will be our departure time only again, from when it is going to leave. Departure duration. Okay, sorry, this was a duration. Let's keep it static. Let's say 16 hours. I don't have in the duration, or you can calculate and do like that. Here we will have the arrival and that too the date. Arrival date also we need to show, because in this only we are getting the date also. So this same property date, but parameter will be dd-mm-yyyy. So it will show from this we have date and the time. Here we are showing the date, and here we are showing the time also. Then rating and this we don't have it. Price we have. So let's showcase that. So item dot, what is the property name? Price. So let's copy, let's paste it. 8 seats available. Okay, I forgot to create this API, but I will create. Fine. Let's just see if we are able to see the data properly. Nagpur, Pune, 18 search bus. Sorry. So now you can see from VRL travels, we have two buses. One is leaving at 9 and one is leaving at 5. And from Saini, we just have one. And whatever the information we could do. Just this part is remaining. So I have to write API, because in the booking also we need to show the book tickets then only. Fine. Let me just complete the API. Then I will complete the remaining part. Let me just pause the video. So I have created that API. I have modified the same API. So now if we search the bus, so we get the proper available seats. So just for the testing, I have booked one seat. So you can see total seats are 28, but available seats are 27. So these available seats we can display over here. Right? This was static, so we just need to make it dynamic. So here item dot available seat we can show, and total seats also we need to show somewhere, or not necessary, I think. Nagpur, Pune, 18 search. So 27 seats are available, whatever we will be able to see. Or out of we can just show. user should know how many seats were there. Out of, and here we will show total seats. So item dot total seats. So he will be know like only few seats are remaining. 18 such. So out of 28, 27 seats are available and remainings are all are available. Now, so basic search page work is done. Now, once we click on view seat, we need to navigate to that booking page. But how we will navigate? We need to be sure like which bus we select. So for that, schedule ID. So in this API, schedule ID is the primary key. See this. So this is the primary key which with what we need to navigate. So we are going to navigate with the route parameter. So we need to change our route. So app route.config. So this will be with the parameter. So question mark slash, let's say ID only. So while navigate, we have to pass the ID now. So in search page, books view set is there, or instead of this, we can say book seat. On click, on bracket, on click, or you can use directly router outlet also. Router link. Now to use router link, we have to import the router link also. Router link like that. Now where we have to navigate? This is the route booking. And how do we pass the parameter? Let's try slash. And here we need to pass item dot concatenate, or how we pass it. I think second parameter. Item dot, yes, as a second parameter we pass schedule ID. So that is this. Let's copy. Yeah. So let's see if we are able to navigate or not. So instead of creating function, we have just navigated. Nagpur, Pune. Let's pass the date. Now if we click, no, we are not able to navigate. Let's see the error. What it is saying, booking slash 6. Why it is directly trying to navigate router link slash booking. Let's try like this. Normally we navigate from the function, but let's try this. We are not able to navigate. It is slash colon ID. Let's try like this. Yeah. So it was first, we should not have a colon. First slash should be there, then colon. Fine. So we are able to navigate with the ID. Now, in this booking component, we need that other UI. So let's get that UI also. So where is the booking UI? Section booking form. So this was the booking UI. Let's copy. Let's put it into the booking form. Let's close this. So like this UI will come. Now with this, okay, I think we forgot to add the navbar. Let it be. So here we have to show the seats available. So how this is just a static UI. Now we have to make it everything dynamic. So let's say this is a row. What is it? Let me just see. Call for we have taken. In call for we have the first row, and then we are showing it over here, and over here call 3 is there. So this is the seat number which we are going to iterate. So instead of this static one, let's remove everything and we have to iterate it. Now first, this is like we are going to have the ID. How many, what is the schedule ID? So first we need to get the particular schedule data, means particular schedule data, this. So if we pass the 6 ID, means whatever the particular traveling bus detail. So if we pass the 6, we get everything, right? So this API we need to make. This is like get by single ID. So let's write the service level function, get schedule by ID. This is a simple get API call. So let's write it. It will go over here and it will have a parameter ID colon number. In this ID we need to pass it over here. So +6 concatenation. Fine. So this function we have to call on the page load. Now here in the browser we have the URL, right? URL we have the query parameter. So in the booking component we need to read that parameter. So to read that in the booking component, let's write constructor, and in constructor we will create an instance of activated route. By using activated route, we can read the parameter data. This dot activated route dot params dot subscribe result colon any, and we will get an array of object. And here schedule ID we will store number by default initialized to 0. Whatever the query parameter we have, that we will read it over here is equal to res dot ID. Only one parameter we have ID. Now this ID we need to pass it onto the booking component. That service. So let's create an instance of service also, since we already have the constructor. So let's write another instance private master service colon master service. Now let's create a function get schedule detail by ID. This dot master service dot get schedule by ID, and we need to pass the ID. So nothing but this variable. We will pass it over here. Don't worry, I will just debug, then you will understand what we are doing and why we are doing like this. Parent function, and whatever the current schedule data, whatever the bus journey detail I get, that I need to store it also. So schedule data colon any, we will store into this variable. So this dot schedule data is equal to res. Fine. And this function we will call once we read the data. We don't need to implement get on ng on it, because once we read the data, then only we need to trigger this API call. So that's why I'm not implementing that get API call. Fine. So, and by this we will get the total number of seats. Let me just print this data also, or let's just add a debugger over here so that I will showcase and why we need this API call. Save all. So reload. So now here you can see we get every data, means particular schedule data, how many that particular total seats are there. So total seats are 28. So now we need to iterate this seat up to 28 times. This was the static state. So this should be iterated up to 28 times. 28 blocks should be there. Again, we need to integrate one more API to show the book seats, right? We will do it later. First, we will complete. Now, so we know like for loop or ng for required array. But what we are getting is 28 number. So what we can do, seat array we can create. Seat array colon number. It's going to be array is equal to empty. Now we have to use for loop or for each, whatever. So I'm just going over the for each loop. Sorry, normal for loop we have to iterate. For loop. Up to what we need to iterate? This dot schedule data dot total seats. Total seats up to 28 record, right? And what I need to do in this, I need to push the element. So this dot total seats dot push index, and index will start from 0. Index will push, I will over here. Total seats equal to 1. Fine. Now this how many seats we have in that particular bus, that array I will get it over here. Now this I will use it over here to iterate. So at the rate for loop, and this column I will put it over here. And over here we will print the seat number also. So just item. Let's save this and see if we are able to see all the seats. So here you can see we have got 28 seats available. Booking 6, right? Let's open the another page. Nagpur, Pune. We need to store this data also in the local storage or somewhere, because now here you can see we have 25 seats. If we click on book now, so you can see 25 seats are available. Fine. This is working fine. Now we need to show these are all the seats available. Now some seats might be booked also. So we have one more API, that is get book seats. So if you pass the schedule ID to this, whatever the schedule ID you have, you will get the number of seats which are booked. So for this schedule 6, we have only one seat which is booked. So this API call also we need to make on the page load. So let's go to service, get book seats, round bracket, curly bracket. Let's copy. We will need schedule ID as a parameter. This we will pass it over here. Same ID. And whatever the ID, schedule ID we will get, we will pass it over here. Now this function also we need to call. So once API call is success, again, just like this, one more API call should be there. Let's copy. Why is the error? I think for loop. One more API call we are going to need. So I'm just copy pasting the basic code. We don't need the for loop. And here, just like the seat array, we need to create booked seats array. Colon number, it is going to be array like this. Fine, whatever the data we get, that we will store it over here. Get book sets, and we will pass the schedule ID. Now this function also we will call it. Fine. Now, so we have two array available, all the sets and the book sets also. Now, what was that? Let me just see the style. Set available and set selected. Result we don't need. So this class we need to add it to make it like this seat is a selected one. So this is the div. So here we need to write at the rate if block, and for the if block we need to pass the condition. So whatever the seat number is currently in the for loop, that seat number is already booked or not. Means that particular seat number is available in this booked seat array or not, that we need to write. So let's write the code. Check if seat booked. And for this function, we will have a parameter, that is seat number. Okay. And here what we need to write, return this dot booked seat array dot index of, or include or index of will be easy. And we need to pass the index. So index of what it will does, if whatever the item we pass, if it is present, we will get that index, otherwise -1. So this function, we will call it over here, and we need to pass the seat number. So that is item. Instead of item, let's make it seat number. That will make more sense. So if this is not equal to -1, means this seat is booked. And here we will showcase this, and at the rate else. And here instead of reserved, sorry, what was that? Available, we need to add it over here. If not equal to -1, wait, this will be, okay, we have, I think first is available will be there. Then if we select, it will be selected. And if it is already booked, we have to show the reserved. So here reserved is correct. Then if we check it, again, we need to write the condition available. Let's just first see if it is working fine. This is the only logic which we have. So what was it? For first bus, we had a booking. Search. So here 28 seats were there, only 27s were available. First seat, I think it was booked. So here you can see it is coming like this. I'm not able to select. But now if I can, the remaining seat, available seat, I can be able to select. So for that, in the else block, so again, we have three conditions. First, seat either can be available, then it is booked. Booked part we have covered. If it is available in the booked seat, this part is covered. Then in at the else block, either I can select a seat or it is available. So this is for available. Now on click of this, I need to make this particular seat number as selected. Okay. So for that, click and here select seat and I need to pass the seat number. Fine. Let's create this function. Fine. Now here I'm going to get the seat number which user is trying to book. Number. Now this also I need to store it somewhere. So again, I need to create a variable user selected seat array, that too with number, square bracket empty, right? Like this. So in this variable, we are going to push. So over here, this dot selected dot push, and what we need to push? The seat number, whatever we get. Now, so first if statement was there. Now in else case, here again, we need to write the at iterative. So this else block is going to execute if seat is not booked. So here again, we need to write one function. Check if seat selected means user has selected or not. So the same function will go over here, but just we will compare with the user selected one. And this function we will pass over here. And what we need to pass? Seat number only. So if this is not equal to -1 means user has selected the seat. So we need to copy, paste, and over here again we add the details. And this available block will be over here. And over here we need to add the booked one. So selected. Let's see. Save. Save. Let's see now. So only one ticket was already booked. If I clicked on line number 6, you can see it is booked. 7, 8. Got it? So this is how we are doing. And remainings are available. Okay. So these are the seats which user is trying to book. Now this part is done. If you see the booking API now whatever the bus booking plot seat dynamic that is done, user is able to select the tickets also, like what number of seats he want to book. Then for if we see the bus booking API, so this is the bus booking API where booking ID is the primary key. We don't need to send. Customer ID is logged in customer ID. So obviously user needs to log in. Okay. Then booking date, current date, we will send. Schedule ID. Schedule ID, we will get it from over here. The schedule ID, which bus we are trying to book. Then here we need to send the, what do we say? How many passengers we are going to travel. So let's say we selected 3 seats. So we need to enter the data of 3 passengers. Now for this, we need to do the booking. And one more thing I forgot, I think. Pickup point and drop. We are not able to see over here. Let me check the API. Why we are not able to see that? Pickup and drop also we need to do. Where is bus booking? We are using this one. Let me just pause. I don't want to confuse you by saying .NET code. Okay, so this is correct. I thought of adding that pickup location and drop location, but I think I have missed that API. So in this video, we will just focus on the normal flow. I will create one more video where it will be a detailed one where we can select the pickup location, where we can show the multiple pickup location, just like in the red bus, and we can select the drop location also. That we will cover in the advanced version. So this video we will consider as a basic bus booking flow. Okay. So this is the flow which we need to trigger. But before that, customer first need to register. So we will just do that registration on the login part first. So I have just added a simple navbar. Let me show you the code of it because we needed that login and sign up, right? So just like the navbar we have with Redbus, same thing I have tried to do. So that I have put it into the app component. So here you can see it's a simple bootstrap navbar. Just I have added a style color for the navbar and the image. Remaining is the same. So you can just go to bootstrap tutorial and just copy the navbar and you can just add the links like this. Now, so next thing, first we need to complete the login and the sign up thing. So this navbar is in the app component. So in app component, we on this button click, we can open a model popup, and in that model popup, we will complete our login and the registration part. So if you see the API, in the API, I have added the login API. So you can see add new user means by this, you will be able to register, and by this login API, you will be able to log in. Fine. So let's do that. So on click of it, we need to open the model popup. So let's get the model popup code from Bootstrap tutorial, Bootstrap W3. So we need the normal model popup. So this is the model popup code. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. So this is the basic code we have. Now on click of this, so we will have to login and the sign up, right? So in the same model popup, we will have login and the sign up form, and we will just do the hide and show. So here, let's get the normal login form. Do we have the login form over here? I think they didn't provide the login form. Let's simply search login form, Bootstrap. Let's get, this will also work. So on click of, let's copy. Let's paste it over here. So we got the login and the registration. See, in the same thing we have got it. This is the first form. Oh, sorry, form is simple. Email address and the password. Remember me. And then we have not a member. Okay, we have icons. Fine. So first on this button click, I need to open the model popup. So to do that, either we have ID over here. So we can select the element and we just have to add a dynamic style. So let's do that. One more way is you can create a view child also, and by using native element, you can add the same thing. But I'm just going with the shortest way. So click open model. Let's create this function. Now in this function, what I need to do, I need to get an instance of that element. So constant model is equal to document dot get element by ID. This is not advisable, but just to save the time, I'm writing like this. You can create a view child and you can open the model. Whatever I'm doing by directly checking the DOM API, you can do it. So model is not equal to null. Whenever we read the element like this, you need to add a null check. If model is not equal to null, model dot style dot display is equal to block CSS we need to add. Just like this open, we need the close model also. So let's write it close model. And here we have to add CSS none. Let's save and check if we are able to open the model popup. So now on click of this, you can see we are able to open. Now let's consider like this is a login form, and on click of register, we will just hide and show the form. So let's do that. We don't need this many buttons. Let's get rid of that. Forgot password we don't have. So let's consider this form is for the login. Let's copy the same, and another will be, let's say, register email address. What things we need for the registration? Let's see. In the add new user, there are so many things, but username, email ID, you can pass. Let's try like what are the mandatory field. So if we pass full name, username, email, full name, role as in I think empty, password. Okay, so let's copy this and let's create the object also. So in .ts, we have to create the object. So register object colon any is equal to curly bracket and the properties. Fine. So these are the various properties we have in our register object. Created date, we can pass the new date that will be dated, new date. password empty, project name, you don't need to send it, refresh token, you don't need to send it, and refresh token expiry date also, you can just send the whatever the new current date. Fine. This object we have created. Now this object we need to bind to our form also. So for that, let's add forms module. Now in the HTML, so here let's say we need to create a variable because we need to toggle it. So is login form boolean. By default, I will make it true. And if this variable is true, we will show this form. So star, okay, we are using at the rate. If this variable is true, we will render this form. And at the rate else, we will render the below form. And in the below form, we will have the registration detail. So how many fields we need? Email address is there. Then username is also there. What else we need? Email address, full name also we need. So let's add the full name box also. Full name, then password, and remaining things are not mandatory. Let's remove this. And here we will say already a member login. Now we have this anchor tag, right? In case of registration in the register form, we have to navigate to the login. So click the same variable, we just need to make it true. So if this variable is true, login form will be visible. If it is false, so this we need to make it true. And from login form, we just need to make this variable false. So let's do that also. Over here, we just need to make it false. Login. So let's see if we are able to navigate it properly. Login form not visible. Why it is saying like that? Okay, so now if we click over here, so by default, you can see login form is visible. If I click on, okay, I think we didn't change the variable, this title. So you can see we are able to toggle. So here, not a member, register should be there. Now, first we will complete the registration part. So email address, these things are there. So we have created object also. Now this object we need to bind to our form. We are using template form. So input type text over here, square bracket, round bracket ng model is equal to this property dot. This is for email address. So email ID will go over here. And we need the name attribute also because we are in the form tag. So let's copy this and then we will just change the values. Email address, then username is there. So let's copy the username property. This will go over here, over here. Then we have full name. Let's copy it over here, and the last one is password. Remaining things you don't have to send. Fine. Now on click of register, you have to, this will be registered. So on click of register, you need to call our API. So for that, let's write a click event on register. Let's create this function. Now, we already have created a service. So in that service call, we will create our API call function. So that will be post API, right? So let's copy on register user. Let's get the URL also. So this is the URL, add new user. Let's copy, let's paste it over here. This URL, we need to pass it over here. We don't need the remaining things. And for this function, we will get the object. So obj, instead of number, it will be any. Fine. So we have created our API call. Instead of get, it will be post. And since it is a post API, we need to pass two parameters, URL and the object. So this is URL, and whatever the object we get from the component, we will pass it. So now this function, we need to call it over here. But before that, obviously, first we need to create instance of our service. So master service is equal to, by using inject, we will create. inject master service like this. Now over here, we just need to make the API call. So this dot master service dot on register user, we need to pass the object. So this dot register object, then we need to subscribe on bracket result colon any. It is a post API, right? So here we just have to add a success block and the error block as well. Like this. Fine. So if API call is success, this block will execute. If we have any error, error block will execute. Why it is saying it is deprecating? I think it is getting deprecated. We have to use that next and everything. Fine. So once it is successfully, we will show the message like alert user registered success. Fine. And if it goes to the error, we will showcase whatever the error message we get. So JSON dot stringify, whatever the error message we get, that we will display it over here. Fine. We have called this function also now. Yeah. So let's see if we are able to log in first. Sorry, register. So on click of it, now we need to toggle to the register. So let's say user test user @ dummy.com. This was the email address test 123, full name test password 112233. Let's check the API call is going correctly or not. So on click of register, you can see API call is success, and in the response, we are getting the data also. Right? So some API has some different response, some APIs have different response. So make sure you are checking the both. So if you see in the registration API, we are getting the data also. So we don't want to ask user again to log in. So we have the data. So this same data we are going to get after user login also. So this you can also store into the local storage. Okay. And again, we can do the login part also, but over here only we are getting the data. So let's store that data into local storage. So local storage dot set item. The key name will be read bus user. We get an object format, but while storing, we need to store it into the string format. Stringify res dot in data, we get the data. And once if we are storing the data into the local storage, here at the now bar, we don't have to show this login and sign up. My logged in username should be visible along with the log off button, correct? So for that, we will create a logged in logged user data, a simple variable I'm creating. So once user successfully logged in this variable, I will be storing the data. So this dot logged in user data is equal to res dot data. Fine. So now this variable, we will check it. Now in the now bar where we are showing the login and the sign up button. So here I will just copy paste. So first at the if condition. So how do we know that user is logged in? So we can say if this variable is not null, if this variable is not null, if this variable is there, means if it is not null, we will say user is logged in. So over here, instead of open this, over here we can show the logged in user data. So that too with interpolation logged in user data dot username we will show. And after that, we need the log off button also. So here we will say log off. Fine. It will be, let's say, success. And if not, if this variable is undefined or null, we will have at the else block. And in else block, we will have the login button. And so what we are doing, just pay attention. On click of register, we are assigning data to this. And if user is logged in, we are storing the data into this local storage. So on the page load also, we need to do this. If user is already registered, we said login. So we need to check on the page load also. So let's write the constructor. And same thing, we just need to check the local storage data. So constant local user is equal to this. Instead of set item, now we have to add get item, and this will be the key. So on the page load, we are trying to read the data from the local storage. If data is there, not equal to null means user is in local storage, we have the data. So if it is there, so this dot logged in user data. Now, while storing the data into the local storage, we are storing into the string format. Now, again, if we have to read it, so we have to use JSON dot stringify, sorry, parse method to convert it back. And here we need to pass the local user. Now, I'm not covering the login part. Just like the register, you just have to create an object, and on click of login, same process will go away. This same function you can just do, and instead of register, it will be login, because on login also, we need to store the data into the local storage and in this variable also. Fine. And this function, we will call it over here. Because once user successfully login or register, we need to close the model popup also. One more thing we are going to have, let's just check if everything is working fine. So currently, if you see the local storage, let me just clear remaining data. Currently, we don't have any data, correct? Now, now let's register one more time. So test user2 @gmail.com, test2, test2, and the password 223344. Now on click of register, okay, now you can see in the local storage we have the data. And once we log in, here you can see logged in user data is available and log off button. Now on click of log out, what we need to do, we need to clear this local storage data again, sign up, and the login form should be visible. So let's complete that. So on click of log off, click log off. Now on click of log off, we have to do certain things. That will be first clearing the local storage data. Then we need to make this variable undefined. So local storage. Now we have to remove. So remove item method is there. Which data we need to remove with this key. Then we need to make this variable undefined. Undefined. So see, let's check if we are able to log off. So see, in the local storage, we have the data. So again, dot means logged in info is visible. If I click on log off, so again, you can see local storage data got removed. And again, login and sign up button is also visible. Fine. Let's quickly implement the login part, or I will skip it. I will once again kill it. So you can just do the login part by yourself. It's very easy. Just like the registration, only URL will change. And the object also you need to create. So let's say test3 @gmail.com 4455 register. Fine. So we are logged in with the particular user. So login part is done. Now, once we select today's data, data is available. We have some data available. Let's continue. So currently this for this particular travel from Nagpur to Pune, we had 27 seats out of 28. Now, if we click on the book seat, we will be able to see the book selection. So book selection we have already done. Now here we what we can do is, so after book selection, let's see the booking API once again. So now if you see the booking API, it's a single with multiple example. So this is a single object and this is a multiple object. But booking ID is nothing but primary key. Customer ID, logged in customer ID, booking date, current date. Schedule ID is in the pop-up. So what we need a form where we can add multiple passengers. Means what number of seats we have selected, that number of passenger we have to add. So for that, let's close everything. Now we need a dynamic table. Let's say we selected 3 seats. So we should have a 3 forms where we can enter the passenger detail. Correct? So what details we need? Passenger name, age, gender, and the seat number. So seat number will be automatically. So how do we know like how many seats we have booked? So in this user selected array, we are having the what number of seats we have booked. So let's use this. So where is the form? Yeah. So over here, we will again create row dot column 3. So first is like input. Let's get the label first. So first what we need, passenger name. let's copy passenger name. Then we need the text box. So input type text class form control passenger name. Then we have age and something, right? So then we have age and gender. Age and gender. And we need one more. Let's let's use 22 and seat number. But this will be in the array format. So for that, let's use @for loop. And this whole row will go inside the for loop. And what will be the for loop instance? Means we have to, what number of user has selected seat, up to that we need to use the for loop. So now by writing this code, you will be able to see. So see, getting it? What number of what number of seat we will select, that number of information we have to provide. Fine. Passenger. Now we need, let's make it 3 for this. Age will be fine. Gender is also. Now here we just need to bind the data. So here we will use square bracket, round bracket, ng model. I think we need to import the forms module. Let's import that. Yeah. So forms module. So we need to bind this text box to the, oh, we are going to need an object also. So this array we have created initially a number, but it will be an array of object. So that too with this properties, because this is what we are going to need. So let's create an array. Instead of number, it will be, let's say, any of array. And while pushing the data, where would selects it. So here we will create a constant obj is equal to this. And over this object dot seat number, we will assign the seat number we are getting. So make sure you change this function because we need the proper data. Okay. And now this object we will push to our booked array. So now this array doesn't have a, what do we say? Array of integer. Now it is array of object. So we have to change this method also. So it is not a directly array of objects. So instead of this, dot find index, and the method m equal to m dot seat number is equal to seat number. Fine. So it should behave the same. Now this is an array of objects. So here array of object is there. Now here we can bind item dot. So this is for passenger number. So we will add passenger name over here. Then we have age, gender, and the seat number. Just the seat number we will keep it disabled. So because we will not allow user to check that again, change that again. So we have age over here and the gender over here. So now for gender, either we can have a radio button. Let's add a radio button where value will be male, just like that. Let's copy. Here value will be female. And name attribute also need to be same. Gender. What was it? Gender, let's copy. This gender, we have to bind it over here. Let's remove the form control. Fine. So let's see if everything is working fine or not. So you can see data is visible. Got it? So this is disabled. No, but why seat number is not visible? It should not come as a string, no? Seat number, we are assigning it. Let's add a debugger and check what is going wrong. Okay, passenger name we have bind. We need to bind seat number over here. My bad. Fine. Let's save and check. So here you can see the seat number, whatever we have selected, that is coming. Now here we just need to provide the passenger detail. So instead of initializing with string, let's empty it. Now we have the array of passengers who are traveling along with the seat number. Now we just need to make the API call. So again, in the service, let's copy this. Post API call will be there. Let's get the URL. Now we need the object like this. So let's copy this object. This is our booking object. Okay, we will copy that later. First, we need to write the API call. So this is the URL. This will go over here on booking. Fine. Now in the function, we have to create a booking function on or book now. Let's create this function. Now this function we need to call on the save of some button. So in the UI, we need a button. So this is the form detail we have. So at the bottom, we will have a book now button. So after this row, we will have another row. So this is the whole row. Row dot call. And inside this, we will have a button. So button class btn success. We will center it also. Text hyphen center. Let's save. Why buttons is not visible? Book now. Still okay. Let's add a danger class because we have the blue red theme. Fine. So on click of book now, we just need to pass the object to this API. So, but this API needs a proper object. See, like this. So let's copy this. And in the book now function, we will create a constant object, local variable. Obj is equal to this. We just need to empty this because this booking array, we are going to get it from over here. Booking date, we just need to send it new date. So new date. Customer ID. Booking ID is primary key. Customer ID means logged in customer ID. How do we know the logged in user data? In app component, in the local storage, we have already stored that. So let's read that data. So this, let's read the logged in user data constant logged user data is equal to, instead of set item, it will be get item to read the data. So here we are going to get the logged in user data, but it will be in the string format. So again, we need to convert it. So if logged in user data is not null, so here we need to write constant logged data is equal to JSON dot parse method we have to use because again, we need to convert it data, right? So all our code should go inside this. So this object also will go inside this. So we have got the logged in user data over here. So that we need to pass into the customer ID dot user ID. Schedule ID, we already have, we are reading it into the very from the activated route and we are storing it over here. So this only we need to pass it over here, like which this will identify like which travels we are trying to book. Correct. So this dot schedule ID is there. Now this while declaring this array is empty, but we have this array over here. See this kind of object we are already pushing. So we just need to assign this to our object. So instead of this, we can directly pass this. So our whole object will be proper. Now here we have to make the API call. So this dot master service dot on booking. We need to pass the object that is nothing but this object booking object. Then we can write the subscribe result colon any. Fine. So here we will add the null check, or we don't have any null check, I think. We just have a success and the error block. So if it is success, we will show alert like booking got success. Fine. Let's just add a debugger and let's write the whole code. And if logged in user data is not there, so we should have an else block. Every block should have an else block. And here we can say, please log in. right? So let's see and check if everything is working fine. So we will be done with the booking part. So currently user is logged in. Let's book seat number 2, 5, and 6. Now let's enter the passenger detail. Let's say AAA, age having 23. Let's say gender male. Okay. Here it will break now. Why it is behaving like this? Let's see. Because we are already in the for loop, so it might be we need to add a name, gender is there. How we can make it? Instead of this, let's use a drop down. Select option. Let's say male over here and female over here. And this you need to bind it over here. Class form hyphen control. Let's get rid of this and let's try it again. Now it is behaving perfectly. Okay, so let's say AAA, age having 34, male. Let's say BBB, age having 23. Let's say female. Fine. Now we have debugger on. So now on click of book now. Okay, I think we didn't call the function. I thought it so. Let's write a click event. We need to call our function that is book now. Over here. Let's test it now. Fine. So 2, 5, and 6. 3 seats we are booking. So now let's pass the data AAA, BBB, CCC. One more thing, if you are using my API, just add up the dummy data. Don't enter the correct detail because APIs are open. Everyone is using it. So no one should get something false and everything. Don't put your original email ID or original mobile number. Fine. Well, 23, 44. Gender male. Let's add a female. Now, on click of book now, here you can see we have the logged in user already. So it will go to the block. So in the log, here you can see by reading this, the local storage data, we got the data in the string format. Now we are converting it back to the object. Now you can get the object and here we have the user ID. So we have created object over here. So once I continue, just pay attention to this object. See, now in booking bus passenger, we have got the data properly. A, B, 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 whatever the data we filled. Then booking ID is 0, customer ID, we have got the logged in customer ID and the schedule ID also we have got. Let's try now on click of continue. So here you can see we got the success. So that's why we can say booking is done, right? So we know what is the error. Okay, fine. So ticket number 1 was already booked. And now we booked the 2, 5, and 6. So now if we go back and again, if we search the same travels for the same day, we should get all those tickets as coming as a booked. See, we booked this ticket. So now it is in the not selectable, means stating that these are already booked. So this is how your booking flow is like that. So the main logic was having this seat booking selection. That is something new. Otherwise, it is just an API call. Whatever the project wide range of domain or wide range of different project we can do, it's just an API call. Just in each project, we will have something logic which will be unique to that particular domain. So in case of ticket booking, this was something unique. Right? Again, in this video, I just wanted to complete the basic flow, but again, you can extend it like you can show my bookings, tickets. Again, you can add the admin panel there. You will be able to see all the booking received for this particular travel and everything. Fine. So in this video, I'm just going to stop for now. I will create one more video, which will be a little detailed one. I will modify APIs also. Basic will be same, but some new fields will be added. Like while selection, we will be able to select over here like pickup location and drop off location. That too will come from the API. Okay. So that's it for now. Thank you all. Please do like, subscribe.